Victoria Monroe's life had always been ordinary, a routine of daily tasks and unremarkable moments. It all changed when she received a mysterious letter from her grandmother's attorney. Intrigued, she visited the law firm to unravel the secrets hidden in her family's history. The atmosphere in the lawyer's office was thick with anticipation as Victoria sat across from the attorney, Mr. Anderson. The dimly lit room echoed with the creaking of leather chairs as Victoria fidgeted nervously. "Victoria, your grandmother, may she rest in peace, has left you something substantial," Mr. Anderson declared, breaking the suspense. He slid a document across the desk, and Victoria's eyes widened as she read the contents. "A $6 million inheritance." Victoria gasped, disbelief etched on her face. "Yes, and it's more than just money," Mr. Anderson explained. "She also bequeathed various properties and assets, including the picturesque estate on the outskirts of town." As the weight of the revelation sank in, Victoria's mind raced with possibilities. She envisioned a life beyond the monotony of her current existence, and a newfound freedom seemed within her grasp. "That estate was my grandmother's haven," Victoria murmured, her gaze fixed on the document. "I never imagined it would one day belong to me." "You have choices now, Victoria," Mr. Anderson said, his voice measured. "This inheritance could be a chance for a fresh start, a new chapter in your life." As Victoria left the law firm, clutching the documents that outlined her unexpected windfall, she couldn't shake the mix of excitement and apprehension. The inheritance bestowed upon her carried the potential for a life-altering journey, one that would challenge her perceptions and redefine her sense of self. Returning home, Victoria found herself standing in the empty rooms of her grandmother's estate. The air was thick with nostalgia, and she whispered, "Thank you, Grandma, for this unexpected gift. It's time to see where this journey takes me." Victoria's contemplative days took an unexpected turn on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. As she navigated the slick city streets in her car, her thoughts were interrupted by the blare of a horn and the screeching of tires. In an instant, her life collided with another, leaving her battered and bruised in a hospital bed. The sterile hospital room became Victoria's temporary refuge, a space where pain and reflection merged. Bandages adorned her injuries, and the soft hum of medical equipment underscored her vulnerability. The door creaked open, and a nurse entered, breaking the silence. "How are you feeling, Mrs. Monroe?" the nurse inquired, adjusting the IV drip. "Physically, I'll heal. Emotionally, I'm not so sure," Victoria replied, her gaze fixed on the raindrops sliding down the window pane. Amidst the hushed hospital sounds, Victoria contemplated the tumultuous nature of her marriage to Kirk. Memories of harsh words and controlling gestures echoed in her mind, forming a mosaic of a relationship that had lost its luster. Days turned into nights, and Victoria found solace in her thoughts. The hospital became a cocoon of introspection, prompting her to reevaluate the foundations of her life. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting hues of orange and pink across the sky, Victoria reached a pivotal decision. She stared at her reflection in the small mirror beside the hospital bed, steeling herself for the conversation she knew she needed to have. The door opened, and Kirk walked in, his expression a blend of concern and impatience. "Victoria, why didn't you answer my calls?" Kirk asked, his tone a mixture of irritation and feigned worry. "I've had time to think, Kirk," Victoria replied, her voice steady. "This accident has forced me to confront the reality of our marriage." Kirk scoffed, dismissing her words. "It's just a rough patch. We can work through it." Victoria met his gaze, her eyes firm. "No, Kirk, this is more than a rough patch. It's a wake-up call. I can't continue like this." As the words hung in the air, a heaviness settled between them. The room felt charged with the unspoken tension of a relationship on the brink of change. "I want a divorce, Kirk," Victoria finally uttered, her words echoing in the sterile room. Kirk's face contorted with a mix of surprise and defiance. "You're overreacting, Victoria. We can fix this. I love you." Victoria's resolve remained unshaken. "Love shouldn't hurt, Kirk. It's time for both of us to find happiness separately." The collision of fates had become a catalyst for a profound shift in Victoria's life, a journey of self-discovery and the pursuit of a future free from the shadows of a fractured marriage. The hospital room echoed with the palpable tension of a decision hanging in the air. Victoria's declaration lingered, creating a void that begged to be filled. Kirk's eyes darted between disbelief and anger, a storm brewing within him. "You can't be serious, Victoria," Kirk retorted, his voice laced with a mixture of indignation and denial. "We've been through worse." Victoria, reclined on the hospital bed, maintained her composure. "Kirk, this isn't a knee-jerk reaction. It's a realization. I need to break free from a cycle that's been suffocating both of us." Kirk paced the room, his frustration evident. "And what about us? The plans we made, the life we built together." "We built a life based on compromises and sacrifices, Kirk," Victoria responded, her gaze unwavering. "I need to rediscover who I am outside of this marriage." The room fell into a charged silence as both grappled with the weight of the impending change. Victoria, feeling a mix of liberation and trepidation, reached into her bag and pulled out a set of divorce papers. The rustle of paper filled the room. "I've thought this through, Kirk," she said, handing him the papers. "It's time for both of us to find our own paths." Kirk's expression hardened as he scanned the documents. The reality of the situation settled in, and he scoffed. "You really think money changes everything, don't you?" "It's not just about the money, Kirk," Victoria countered. "It's about reclaiming my life and finding happiness on my own terms." Kirk, struggling to grasp the depth of Victoria's resolve, crumpled the divorce papers in his hand. "You'll regret this, Victoria. No one else will put up with you like I have." Victoria, her voice unwavering, responded, "Maybe that's the problem, Kirk. I shouldn't have to be put up with. I deserve more, and so do you." As Kirk stormed out of the room, the weight of the decision lingered. Victoria, lying on the hospital bed, felt a mix of liberation and vulnerability. Breaking free from the chains of a suffocating marriage marked the beginning of a journey towards self-discovery and a life of her choosing. The divorce papers, once a symbol of separation, now represented the first steps towards a future unburdened by the constraints of the past. As Victoria convalesced in her hospital room, the drama in her life unfolded with the speed of a runaway train. The divorce papers, though crumpled and discarded, held the potential for a storm that would shake the very foundation of her estranged marriage. Days passed, and Victoria's phone buzzed with a message. It was a text from Kirk, expressing a begrudging acceptance of the impending divorce. It seemed as though he was already moving on with another woman, a prospect that both intrigued and unnerved Victoria. One evening, the hospital room door creaked open, and Kirk entered with an air of defiance. "Victoria, we need to talk," he declared, his eyes fixed on her. She gestured for him to sit, curious about the tone of urgency in his voice. "What is it, Kirk?" He took a deep breath before launching into his revelation. "I met someone, Victoria. Her name is Sarah, and we're serious about each other. I can't keep living in limbo with you." Victoria, though emotionally prepared for this revelation, felt a twinge of sadness. "Kirk, I expected this. It's part of the reason I filed for divorce. We both deserve a chance at happiness." His eyes narrowed, suspicion flickering. How did you know about Sarah? We've been discreet. A knowing smile played on Victoria's lips. Kirk, I filed a notice of non-acceptance. I'm not as naive as you think. The color drained from Kirk's face as he processed the implications. You planned this from the beginning? What's your game, Victoria? Victoria, steadying herself, replied, No games, Kirk. Just a desire for honesty. I want a clean break, free from deception. The room fell into a tense silence as Kirk grappled with the revelation. Victoria sensed an opportunity to gain the upper hand. Sarah deserves to know the truth, Kirk. I won't let her become collateral damage in our broken marriage, Victoria asserted, her voice firm. Kirk, cornered and exposed, sighed in resignation. Fine, tell her. But remember, you asked for this. With that, Kirk left the room, leaving Victoria with a mix of emotions. The tangled web of deception that had defined their marriage was now unraveling, laying bare the complexities of their relationships and the repercussions of their choices. As Victoria gazed out of the hospital window, she contemplated the path ahead. Deception had been her constant companion, but with each unveiled truth, she felt a glimmer of liberation. The divorce, once a means of escape, now held the promise of a clean slate and the possibility of a future untainted by lies. With the unraveling of Kirk's infidelity, Victoria embarked on a new chapter, one of legal confrontation. The dimly lit courtroom, adorned with polished wood and the solemn faces of justice, became the battleground for the dissolution of a marriage riddled with deceit. Victoria, flanked by her steadfast lawyer, Miss Anderson, entered the courtroom with a determined expression. Kirk, accompanied by his lawyer, wore a mask of defiance that did little to hide the unease in his eyes. The air crackled with tension as the lawyers presented their opening statements. Miss Anderson, a seasoned professional with a no-nonsense demeanor, addressed the court. Your Honor, we are here to ensure a fair and just resolution for Mrs. Monroe. The deception in this marriage has been staggering, and we seek to expose the truth for the well-being of both parties. Kirk's lawyer countered, attempting to downplay the significance of the deception. Your Honor, relationships are complex, and emotions often lead to misunderstandings. We believe the court should focus on the equitable division of assets rather than dwelling on personal matters. As the legal battle unfolded, witnesses were called to testify. Victoria's close friend, Mia, took the stand to recount the toll Kirk's behavior had taken on Victoria. The courtroom listened intently as Mia described instances of emotional abuse and manipulation. Kirk, growing visibly uncomfortable, exchanged anxious glances with his lawyer. The revelation of Sarah's existence, combined with Mia's testimony, painted a damning picture of Kirk's role in the marriage's demise. During cross-examination, Kirk's lawyer attempted to discredit Mia's testimony. Isn't it true, Ms. Mia, that Mrs. Monroe was often emotional and prone to exaggeration? How can we trust your perspective on this matter? Mia, unwavering, replied, I've known Victoria for years. I've witnessed the toll this marriage took on her. I stand by my account. As the legal proceedings continued, the courtroom became a stage for the unveiling of truths. Financial records, text messages, and witness testimonies painted a vivid picture of the dynamics within the Monroe household. In a pivotal moment, Victoria took the stand, facing Kirk's piercing gaze. Your Honor, this isn't just about assets. It's about the right to live a life free from deception and manipulation. I seek justice, not revenge. The judge, after careful consideration, declared, This court acknowledges the emotional distress caused by the deception in this marriage. We will proceed with the equitable division of assets, ensuring both parties have the means to move forward independently. As the courtroom adjourned, Victoria, though emotionally drained, felt a sense of vindication. The legal battle had exposed the truth, laying the groundwork for the next chapter in her life. The divorce, once a distant possibility, was now within reach, and with it, the promise of a future unshackled from the chains of deception. The courthouse doors closed behind Victoria, sealing the resolution of a tumultuous legal battle. As she stepped into the sunlight, the weight of the courtroom drama began to lift. The divorce proceedings had unveiled the truth, and Victoria emerged with a newfound sense of liberation. In the aftermath, Victoria found herself at a crossroads. Mia, her unwavering friend throughout the ordeal, approached her with a supportive smile. "You did it, Victoria. It's a fresh start for you." "Fresh start indeed," Victoria replied, the corners of her lips curling into a weary but genuine smile. "Now I need to figure out what comes next." Mia's eyes sparkled with excitement. How about a celebration? A toast to the end of one chapter and the beginning of something new. The two friends found a nearby cafe, a quaint spot with sunlight streaming through the windows. Mia raised her glass. "To Victoria, a woman of strength and resilience. May this new beginning bring you joy and fulfillment." "To new beginnings," Victoria echoed, clinking her glass against Mia's. In the days that followed, Victoria meticulously sifted through the remnants of her past life. The estate her grandmother had left her became both a sanctuary and a canvas for her aspirations. The decision to sell or renovate lingered in her mind, symbolizing the choices she now had the power to make. As the paperwork for the divorce settlement finalized, Victoria received a call from her lawyer, Ms. Anderson. "Victoria, it's done. The divorce is official. You're free." A mix of emotions flooded Victoria: relief, sadness, and a hint of excitement. "Thank you, Ms. Anderson. This is a new chapter for me." Ms. Anderson's voice softened. "Remember, Victoria, your journey is just beginning. Use this freedom wisely and create a life that brings you genuine happiness." With the divorce settled, Victoria decided to take a bold step. She allocated a portion of her newfound wealth to charitable causes close to her heart, a tangible expression of her desire to bring positive change to the world. One evening, Mia visited Victoria at her grandmother's estate. They sat on the porch, surrounded by the peaceful sounds of nature. Mia looked at Victoria with curiosity. "What's next for you, my friend?" Victoria gazed into the horizon, a sense of purpose lighting up her eyes. "I want to explore, Mia. Rediscover the things that truly bring me joy. It's time to live for myself." Mia grinned. "I'm with you every step of the way, Victoria. Adventures await, and we're diving into them together." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the estate, Victoria felt the promise of a new beginning. The choices ahead were hers to make, and with each decision, she could shape a future that reflected the authenticity and resilience she had discovered within herself. The journey towards self-discovery had only just begun. With the divorce finalized and a newfound sense of freedom coursing through her veins, Victoria set her sights on a serene countryside retreat. The estate, a gift from her grandmother, beckoned as a canvas for her reinvention. Victoria stood at the entrance of the sprawling property, the scent of wildflowers and the distant rustle of leaves creating a symphony of nature. Mia, her ever-supportive friend, marveled at the landscape. Mia grinned. "Victoria, this place is like a hidden paradise. Your grandmother had excellent taste." Victoria nodded, her eyes taking in the vast expanse of greenery. "I want to turn this into a haven, a place where I can truly be myself." In the weeks that followed, the estate underwent a transformation. Vibrant flowers adorned the garden, and the once empty rooms echoed with the laughter of friends who joined Victoria on her journey. One evening, as they sat on the porch overlooking the rolling hills, Mia broke the silence. "Victoria, what's the plan for this place?" Are you turning it into a summer escape, or is it a permanent retreat? Victoria leaned back, the cool breeze playing with her hair. I'm leaning towards the latter, Mia. I want this to be my sanctuary, a place where I can find solace and live life at my own pace. Mia raised an eyebrow playfully. Any thoughts on a name for this retreat? Something that captures the essence of your newfound freedom? Victoria pondered for a moment before a smile played on her lips. How about Liberaire Haven? It means freedom haven in Italian. Mia clapped her hands. Perfect choice. It embodies the spirit of this place and your journey. As Victoria continued to settle into her countryside haven, she discovered the simple joys of life, a leisurely stroll through meadows, the therapeutic act of gardening, and evenings filled with the warmth of friends and laughter. One day, as Victoria tended to the garden, a neighbor from a nearby farmhouse approached. "Hello there. I'm Tom, your neighbor. Heard you've taken over this place." Victoria extended her hand, a genuine smile on her face. "Nice to meet you, Tom. Yes, I'm Victoria. This is Liberaire Haven." Tom chuckled. "Liberaire Haven, huh? Sounds like a place with stories to tell. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask." The sense of community embraced Victoria, reinforcing her decision to make the countryside retreat a permanent haven. Liberaire Haven became a sanctuary not just for herself, but for those who sought respite from the hustle and bustle of life. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over Liberaire Haven, Victoria and Mia sat on the porch, toasting to the possibilities that lay ahead. To freedom and new beginnings, Mia declared, clinking her glass against Victoria's. Victoria looked out at the expanse of her estate, a tranquil smile on her face. To freedom and the beautiful journey that lies ahead. Victoria's countryside haven, Liberaire Haven, became the backdrop for her luxurious single life, a life she had once only dreamed of. The estate, now a manifestation of her newfound freedom, embraced her like a loyal confidant. Within the haven's walls, Victoria savored moments of solitude and self-discovery. As she strolled through the manicured gardens, she reveled in the quietude that surrounded her. One morning, as Victoria enjoyed a leisurely breakfast on the terrace overlooking the lush landscape, Mia joined her, a mischievous glint in her eyes. Mia teased, "Victoria, you're living the dream. Breakfast with a view, no rush to go anywhere. How does it feel to be the queen of your own castle?" Victoria chuckled, sipping her coffee. "It feels liberating, Mia. I never thought I'd have the luxury of time and space to simply be." As days turned into weeks, Victoria's luxurious single life extended beyond the confines of Liberaire Haven. She indulged in solo trips to exotic destinations, exploring the world on her terms. One evening, as she returned from a trip to the Amalfi Coast, Mia welcomed her with excitement. "Victoria, you're glowing. How was the trip?" Victoria beamed. "It was breathtaking, Mia. I'm discovering the joy of creating my own adventures." The estate also became a gathering place for friends who sought refuge from the demands of their own lives. In the midst of a lively dinner party, Mia raised her glass. "To Victoria, the architect of her destiny. May this single life be as grand and fulfilling as you've imagined." Victoria, surrounded by laughter and camaraderie, replied, "To the beauty of independence and the joy of embracing life on our own terms." Amidst the opulence of Liberaire Haven, Victoria found solace in simplicity. Each day brought a new opportunity to relish the freedom she had fought for and to shape her life into a masterpiece. One sunny afternoon, as Victoria and Mia lounged by the pool, Mia asked, "Victoria, do you ever miss the old life? The familiar routine, even with its challenges?" Victoria reflected for a moment before responding. I miss aspects of it, but I've gained so much more. This luxurious single life is a canvas, and I'm painting a masterpiece with each experience. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden hue over Liberera Haven, Victoria embraced the luxurious single life she had crafted for herself, a life defined by independence, self-discovery, and the unbridled pursuit of happiness. The chapters of her story unfolded with each passing day, and Victoria reveled in the beauty of her own creation. Amidst the tranquility of Liberera Haven, a storm from Victoria's past was brewing. Kirk, now facing the consequences of his actions, stood at the doorstep of reckoning. The legal battle had unveiled his deceit, and the aftermath echoed in the form of financial struggles and a tarnished reputation. One day, as Victoria tended to her garden, a courier arrived with a letter addressed to Kirk. Victoria, intrigued, handed the letter to Mia, who had become her closest confidant. Mia's eyes widened as she read the letter. Victoria, it's from Kirk's lawyer. He's requesting a meeting to discuss the financial settlement and division of assets. Victoria, a mix of emotions stirring within her, replied, Let's meet. It's time to close this chapter for good. The meeting took place in a neutral setting, a law office in the nearby town. Victoria, flanked by her lawyer, Ms. Anderson, faced Kirk and his attorney across the table. Kirk, his once confident demeanor replaced by a sense of defeat, began, Victoria, I know things got messy. I just want to find a fair resolution and move on. Victoria, her gaze unwavering, responded, We're here for a fair resolution, Kirk. Let's keep it straightforward. As the discussion unfolded, it became apparent that Kirk's financial situation was dire. Victoria, despite the pain he had caused, couldn't help but feel a pang of empathy. You could have avoided all this, Kirk, Victoria said, her tone a mix of sternness and regret. Honesty and respect could have saved us both from this mess. Kirk, his pride wounded, retorted, You think money changes everything. You always had everything handed to you, and now you're just enjoying the spoils. Ms. Anderson intervened, Let's focus on the legal matters. We're here to discuss a fair settlement, not assign blame. The negotiations continued with Victoria's lawyer presenting a proposal that aimed to ensure both parties could move forward with their lives. As the terms were discussed, Kirk's frustration escalated. This is not what I expected, Kirk exclaimed. I thought you'd be more generous, considering the circumstances. Victoria, maintaining her composure, replied, Generosity doesn't erase the past, Kirk. This settlement is about fairness and closure. As the meeting concluded, with the terms settled and legal documents signed, Victoria looked at Kirk. This is the end of our shared journey. May it bring you the lessons needed for a better future. Kirk, a mix of resentment and resignation in his eyes, nodded. I hope you find what you're looking for, Victoria. As Victoria left the law office, she felt a weight lift from her shoulders. Kirk's reckoning was complete, and she could now fully embrace the luxurious single life she had crafted for herself. Liberera Haven awaited her return, a haven of peace and self-discovery, where the echoes of the past were replaced by the promise of a brighter future.